All right, here we go. Vet plus 30 underway. Who's it going to be for that Bell Helmets hole shot? Mason Glorioso out of Katy, Texas. Mason Glorioso out of Katy, Texas on that number 11 KTM with your Bell Helmets hole shot award. But I can tell you, already getting company. That looks like the number 1 Kawasaki already working his way to the front. And going to have to guess right away that's going to be, let's see here, that number 1 Kawasaki, that's Taylor Painter on that number 1 Kawasaki, already moving himself into the lead. Mason Glorioso able to hold on to that second place as they work themselves into the rhythm right now, headed back into the woods. Third place rider on that Yamaha, not exactly sure who that is. First look, it might be Kenny Day, that 82 machine. I believe it is right now. So Kenny Day working himself up in the mix for an opportunity in the overall championship here right now. But as we speak, it's all Taylor Painter out front and leading the way here on lap number 1. Back through the beach, Painter bringing that Kawasaki. He's followed by that number 11 machine. Glorioso still staying in there, still hanging tough. The 61 machine, Jeremy Cook, working his way up into the mix as well. Getting our first look at our Vet Plus 30 riders as they work their way around Lake Polysport. The Thor sweeper now, all kinds of action going on here. That number 61 coming under attack by the 82 machine. The 82 of Kenny Day trying to get himself in contention. So at the end of 1, Taylor Painter has about 1.6 over Mason Glorioso. Kenny Day in that third position. He's about 1.9 back. Jeremy Cook rides in the 4th spot with Jake Lowry in the number 5 position. Ryan Eager holds down the 6th position. 7th goes to Ronald Rothkranz. 8th is Darren Downs. 9th, Garrett Edmondson on his Suzuki. And rounding out the top 10, Jordan Oxley. Now, taking a look at the current running order, Kenny Day, if they would finish in the current position, a 3.33 for 9 overall. Your current leader, Taylor Painter, would be looking at a 5.41 for 10 points. And Darren Downs, who is all the way back in 8th position on the track right now, is looking at a possible 3rd, but looking to improve upon that as this race moves forward.
Wow, check out Chad Wages, who went 2-1. He took that last lap steal and went away from Andrew Matusik there in the second moto. He opens this one up in a 28th position. Matusik, by the way, who ended up finishing 7th in Moto 1 and relinquished to 2nd place at the end of that second moto. Wasn't anything about being tired. Wasn't anything like got the lead, and he thought that he'd settle into a pace. He thought he had a bigger gap than what he did until Chad Wages snuck by him and just come blowing by him, and he said he had nothing for him, couldn't react to that. So Wages ended up getting that win, and that put Matusik in 2nd. Now, right now, Matusik opens up in an 11th place position. He's looking at 4th place overall for the championship. But look at this. Kenny Day, a 3.33 right now, will score to win the national championship title. That's pretty impressive stuff. But Taylor Painter continuing to lead here at the end of lap 1, working on lap number 2. And there comes Mason Glorioso and Kenny Day, as you were talking about, Day in that 3rd place position. What a day for Day.
Exactly. I knew you were going to go there. Mason Glorioso, I tell you, that guy, when you take a look at his score, 11-12-2. You know, so getting a good start here in this 3rd position. What could have been for Mason is what we have to look back at those first 2 motos. But again, Kenny Day now 3.32 is what he would be looking at moving into that number 2 position.
And that more solidifies that position for him.
Exactly.
Makes it tougher for Matusik to sneak in or anybody else as far as that goes. The closest one really is Taylor Painter with a 5.41, and he can't do any better than what he's doing right now. He's at the mercy of what happens to Kenny Day at this point for this championship.
Exactly. Taylor Painter doing everything he needs to do. He's got a 5.4. He's leading his 3rd moto. Got himself a nice gap. He's out there at 4.6. But even if he wins this one and we finish like we are, it's still going to go to Kenny Day. So like you said, Taylor Painter out there leading this race, riding extremely well, has our fast lap so far, as a matter of fact. But depending on what happens to Kenny Day is what the fate of Taylor Painter is going to turn out to be. So it's all in the hands of Kenny Day how this one's going to play out.
So Jeremy Cook, who's running in the number 3 spot right now, we got to give that rider props out of Pennsylvania. Also 8-9 in Moto 1, and generally we expect to see him in these top 10 positions like this, and maybe even possibly closer to a top 3 where he is riding right now. An 8.93 right now would yield him 5th place overall, and that'd be a great way to end his tenure here at Loretta Lynn's. As we look back to our leader, the number 1 Kawasaki of Taylor Painter coming into this one, defending that number 1 plate. But again, he is 5-4. Those first 2 motos, bad starts, putting him in a position, and he only able to work up that far. Has him in, like we said, at the mercy of Kenny Day, who has actually got a 2-point lead on him. He's got 8 points heading into this, at the end of this final moto, if it stays the way it is right now. Painter's looking at 10 with the 5.41. 3.32 is 8. So Day has a little bit of comfort zone. If he fell back 1 more position, he's still okay for the national championship title. He just can't lose 2 more. If he loses 2 positions, if he drops back to 4th, then all of a sudden it's a whole different deal. Check this out. Up to 4th place now. Aboard the number 42 Suzuki is Andrew Matusik, and that puts him now in a solid overall top 3 position. He goes 7-2-4. He's got 13 points. That's still 5 points. He, too, is at the mercy of what Kenny Day does here at this particular point, and also at this point of Taylor Painter. But as we look at this, we are we've still got 13 minutes or so, a little over 13 minutes of racing left to go. Matusik up to 4th. You do the math right now, he's 9 seconds out of the front of the pack, and in traffic right now. He's turning a 2:02, which is about 2 seconds faster than even your leader, Taylor Painter, right now. Hey, it's not inconceivable to think that possibly Andrew Matusik might be able to work his way into a number 1 spot, or at least challenge for a number 1 spot. If he does that, that's going to change things up a little bit, and we'll see how things start to fall into place at that particular point.
Yeah, I was watching Matusik climb through the standings there as his lap time was dropping, and as you said, 2 seconds faster than your leader, a second faster than the guys ahead of him. Andrew's not done making up positions right now. He's got about 5 seconds to Jeremy Cook ahead of him, but I can tell you this much, Andrew Matusik will give this thing 110% all the way to the checkered flag.
He most certainly will. Behind Matusik, who is in 4th place on the track right now. You look at the gap, 5.4 seconds up to the 3rd place position of Jeremy Cook right now. Jake Lowry is running in the number 5 spot aboard the 23. He's only was only 1.2 seconds back, but a 4-second faster lap for Matusik. He should have already stretched that one out now. Garrett Edmondson, the Sandman out of Florida, who finished 4th last year, is looking at a 6th place position as he rides, and a 6.66. Ooh, it's evil. Garrett Edmondson's got an evil score, but he's got 6th overall.
I don't know. I'd almost have to let somebody pass me for a 6.67.
And now we go back to Chad Wages, the number 45 machine. Wages went 2-1, and if you remember, we were talking about this rider. He was 7th, I think, at the end of the first moto, or first lap of this moto. He moved up to 14th. Now he checks in. He is up to an 11th place position. That has moved Chad Wages with a 2:1:11 now up to a top 5 overall. We start doing some math now and looking at this as Wages has 14 points. And he's in that 11th place position. So to narrow down to 7 points at this particular juncture of the race, he's got a lot of work cut out for him right now. He's got to pass all the way up to 4th place right now. So, but it's not inconceivable to think that he can do it, as passing up to 4th place won't be impossible, but it's certainly a tough task whenever you've only got just under 11 minutes to go on this one.
Yeah, when you take a look at these lap times, Rodney, 2:01.7, 2:02.1, 2:02.2, 2:05. Very tough to make up time when you're all riding within a half a second of each other. We've talked about it all week. I know it sounds like a broken record. Inside, outside, you know, there's a long way around the track that can be quick, and there's a short way around the track that goes. I know that's a hard concept to grasp, but it's really true. Depending on what the competition in front of you is doing is going to dictate the path you take, and that's really going to dictate where your lap time falls.
Painter continues to lead as we work on lap 5. In second, Jeremy Cook in third. The deficit's right now between first and second, 4.2, but Kenny don't have to do anything but ride where he's at the moment. 3.8 back to Jeremy Cook in third. 3.5 back to Matusik now in fourth. Jake Lowry another near 5 seconds back at 4.8. Garrett Edmondson 2.7 seconds now behind fifth place.
And
Rod.
he come from way back.
Yeah.
Edmondson was way back at the beginning of this one, putting down some good laps, working his way up, and already into that sixth position.
Well, we're going to watch Chad Wages here. As we told you last time around, the 45 machine had moved up to an 11th place position from 14th. He's taken, made a few passes now, and we'll get the official tail of the tape for the number 45 machine as he checks in now in 10th place. And he is now, I think, making the pass on 9th place, the number 37 of Ryan Eagers. So Wages now we're going to assume is up to a 9th place position. And a 2:19 will put him in 4th place overall. So he's getting closer and closer to the top 3 overall, which would be pretty impressive considering he was 27th place at the end of that first lap of racing.
No question. And, very calculated, very smooth. Their Wages set that whole pass up right there. Very, very patient. Knows that there's 8.5 minutes left in this thing. Not taking any unnecessary chances. But as he's rolling through the pack, you take a look at his lap time, faster than several guys ahead of him. 3 seconds faster than the guy ahead of him. 1.5 seconds faster. 2 seconds faster. So Wages knows exactly where he's at. And I'm telling you, I look for that guy to end up on an overall podium, to be quite honest with you.
Wouldn't surprise me a bit, and if he doesn't win a championship this year, which definitely most likely won't be in this Vet 30-plus class, I think that Chad Wages certainly has championship potential in the future, and I think that this year's racing kind of proves it in the frustration that he is feeling right now after the 2-1 situation. It's going to fire him up, and he's going to be dedicated to coming back here again and trying to capture this 30-plus national championship. But we got to point out, we still got 7 minutes and 50 seconds left to go in this race, and it's not over. And it's not saying that he still can't pull the championship out in some way, shape, or form.
A very calculated rider Wages is, but right now Kenny Day trying to close that gap just a bit on Taylor Painter. 3.9 last time around. Not sure if it's increased any or not, so I'm going to guess it's hanging right about that 4-second mark. So Kenny Day in the catbird seat right now. Kenny Day in control of this one, looking for that overall championship. Going to get that number 1 plate, and currently riding in the 2nd position. So Kenny Day, the man on the hot seat right now. The man on the move, Andrew Matusik, already up into that 3rd place, was in 4th place just a minute ago, has worked his way back up into the 3rd position. So Rodney, going to be anybody's guess on how this one's going to go with about another 6 minutes.
Yeah. All right, doing some mathematical calculations right now as we look at this. A 2:19 for Chad Wages scores him a 12. If you take 3 off of that and he moves up to a 6th place position, that will then score him 9 points. Still not enough to win the championship at that particular point. So looking at this, those 4 more positions, that will score him 8, and that will tie him, and Kenny Day will still have the championship. So he's got to pass more riders to win this. He's basically got to get up to 2nd, I think, is what he's got to do. Maybe 3rd might do it for him. Let me do the math again here. 2, 1, and 3 scores 5th. He is in 5th. No, he's not in 5th. He is in 9th place. Yes, 4 more places up, and that'll put him right where he needs to be into that position. I was looking at my mind got discombobulated for a second as I was looking at the right side of my screen. That's the overall. Over here is what we're looking at for the race right now. Sorry for the confusion, but again, as we said, the 9th place. So 6 minutes to go on this one. We'll be keeping an eye on the 45. Will he be able to make the ground up on the racetrack to keep Kenny Day from winning that national championship title? Painter is in for 7. Kenny Day in for 7 in 2nd. Matusik in for 7 in 3rd. There's Garrett Edmondson now up to 4th with 7. Jeremy Cook rounds out your top 5. He's in with 7 now.
Rodney, the gap was 3.9 last time around, at 3.8 this time. But take a look at Painter and Day's best laps. 201.5, 201.9. 4/10 of a second separating those guys on their best lap. So that's why that gap is staying at 3.8, 3.9, 3.8 seconds. The consistency, absolutely incredible out of these
All
two.
right. I've been doing the math, and it actually, Chad Wages has to get the reason this is, if he goes 2-1-5, that will be a score of 8. That will tie him with Kenny Day. The best finish in the second moto breaks the tie, so Day would get the championship. So Wages has to get all the way up to a position in order to win the national championship. While he works on that, I'm going to work on heading down to the podium, and you work on seeing how this all pans out, Matt Watson.
Well, I tell you what, the drama is alive and well right now at Loretta Lynn's. Fast lap, a 2:01.514 for Taylor Painter. In control of this one right now, 3.8 seconds out. As we said, Wage is going to need to get up into that 4th position. I got to tell you, looks like a pretty tall task to me at this point in the game. A little further back in the pack, Matuzek now making his way into that 3rd position. Garrett Edmondson riding up into the number 4 spot. Number five position right now goes to Jeremy Cook. Darren Downs in the number 6 spot. Ronald Rothkranz in the number 7 spot. Jake Lowry riding in 8th. Chad Wages into that number 9 position, and Ryan Eager rounding out our top 10. Clock running down on this one. Looks like Painter now able to stretch that out to about 4.2. Kenny Day slacking off just a bit, but it's amazing. We were talking about these guys' fastest laps being 1/2 a second apart. Well, their last lap, they went from a 2:01.5 and 2:01.9, half a second apart on their best lap, to their number 8 lap, 2:05.09, 2:05.5. So once again, after 8 laps, these guys only half a second apart on the lap time, but a gap of almost 5 seconds physically on the track. So Kenny Day continuing to run 3.32, putting him in contention for that championship. Taylor Painter, the man leading right now, 5.41 would give him 10 points and 2nd overall. So Painter and Day really the key players. Matuzak into that 3rd position. So guess what? Painter, Day, and Matuzak, your top 3 fighting it out for that championship right now with 8, 10, and 12 points respectively overall. Chad Wages up into that number 5 spot overall. He's picked up another position into the 9th spot on the track, but time continues to run down here, so going to be able to see exactly what's left in the tank for Chad Wages. How much space can he overcome right now? But Chad Wages not able to match the pace with a 2:07, just about 2 to 3 seconds off the lap times right now of your leaders. White flag is coming out. White flag coming out for your leader right now. Taylor Painter taking the white flag. 1 to go here in our Vet 30 Plus. Painter feeling pretty good. Knows that he's got a 2nd place overall on lock. Can he finish this final lap? And Kenny Day in that 2nd position, about 5.5 seconds back. Slowed up just about a 1.5 seconds that time around. Kind of letting Painter go. Knows what the payoff is, got his eyes on the big prize, and that is, of course, a number 1 plate here at Loretta Lynn's for Kenny Day, provided he manages to keep that thing on 2 wheels for another half a lap. So your top 3 in this moto, Painter, Day, and Matuzak. Top 3 overall currently, Day, Painter, and Matuzak. So a little flip-flop for these guys. A 3.32 going to be good enough to take the win if Kenny Day can bring it home. Taylor Painter looking for a moto win here. Had a little bad luck, 5.4 in the first 2 motos. And, of course, now Andrew Matuzak, Chad Wages has made another pass up into the 8th position. So that puts Chad Wages on the overall podium and knocks Andrew Matuzak back. Wages having 11 points and Matuzak having 12 currently. So 1 lap to go. Looking for our leaders, looking for that number 1 Kawasaki. Going to be finding Painter any moment here. And as this one draws to a close right to the very last minute, Chad Wages making it interesting, bumping Matuzak out of that top 3 overall by picking up 1 more spot. Had to get into that 8th position to get himself up on an overall podium, and was able to do that with about half a lap to go. Looks like our leader painter right now coming back around the Polysport Lake, and sure enough, looking good. Got that thing laid over. Throttle is on. A small straight, a corner, another small straight, and man, it is checkered flag time right now for Taylor Painter. Checkered flag is out. A moto win, a victory rev right there for the #1 machine, Taylor Painter. Kenny Day going to close it out in second place. Kenny Day working his way into the finish line area right now.
He knows it. He knows it.
And Kenny Day knows exactly what time it is. He knows that 3-3-2 equals 8, and he knows that 8 is better than 10, which makes him the champion.
Awesome job by Kenny Day. He's the team manager for the Traders Racing Yamaha team.
Yep.
Got themselves a podium in Supercross this year with Luke Rensland. So, you know he's a pretty busy guy. To find enough riding and training time to come down here to Loretta's, that's impressive.
I tell you what, that is time management, Weege. I got to tell you, that guy's able to get a lot of things done. And like you said, put in the time it takes. Got to keep an eye on that team and manage to come down here and win a championship. Wow. Props to Kenny Day, as well as Taylor Painter, Chad Wages, Andrew Matuzik, Darren Downs, all these guys. Garrett Edmondson working his way up to 6 overall. It's an amazing race. We knew it would be that way in plus 30, and they did not disappoint.
Well, we are down here on the podium ready to celebrate as we get ready to crown champions and also moto winners. And a moto gold going to this guy right here. How about it for the #1 of Taylor Painter, ladies and gentlemen? Well, I tell you, Taylor, coming into this one, I'm sure #1 on your plate, you were hoping for better things. But, wow, the inconsistencies, the bad starts for everybody, having to work up through the pack, a 5-4-1. You finally made it to the podium and to the center of the box. But it's a good way to end the week, I guess, even though you didn't win the title.
Yeah, I mean, man, I've been frustrated a little bit with myself just because I want to be up here and thank everybody involved with the Tapped House and make sure everybody knows how much I care and love them, man. We got 33 kids out here this year. I had 6 last year. It's amazing. Yeah, the starts make a huge difference. I just proved it, and it feels a lot better leaving here knowing I got at least on the podium once, right?
There you go, man. Who do you want to say thanks to for that?
Once again, everybody at the Tapped House, my wife, my dad, my 2 beautiful daughters, Oakley, Sherman Power Sports, Team Green Kawasaki. Sherman stepped up huge this year for me. Dunlop, FMF, Works Connection, Moto Mods, JM Racing. John Mitchell's been behind me for a long time. Fox, all the guys at Fox, thank you so much. Bell, HB Moto Co, Jacob Souter coming through always with the fresh graphics. But man, I'm just thankful all the way around right now.
Taylor Painter, ladies and gentlemen, Moto Gold here at Loretta Lynn's, as we'll bring up our Whole Shot Award winner and our third place finisher as we set the stage, I believe, for our second place finisher in the moto and overall. But let's bring up Mason Glorioso here, the Bell Helmets Whole Shot Award winner. Come on up, Mason, grab your big $100 check, and certainly making waves out here. Put your hands together for Mason Glorioso. Bell Helmets Whole Shot, buddy. Congratulations. You end up finishing 11th in that. Come on around here. Quit walking away from me.
It's hot.
It is hot, I realize, but we got to smile for that camera right there and all the folks at Racer TV back home, man. You got yourself a whole shot. Tell me how you made that happen and what happened after that.
Well, I couldn't do it without my fiance, mechanic, cook, driver. She does it all for me. Gate prepper. Couldn't do it without you. Thanks, babe. No, on the second lap, trying to rail around this outside sweeper, just came in a little too hot and stuffed the front end and fell down and had to come back from there.
Hey, man, you had a day of glory here at Loretta's. Who do you want to say thanks to for that?
Thank you, Brittany, my fiance, like I already said, Wild West Motorsports, Dunlop, KTM, 100%, CD, O'Neill, everybody else, thank you.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. It is Mason Glorioso taking home the whole shot of win and an extra $100 there. And we'll reset the stage here, and we'll get the championship bike up. Let's bring, I believe it is third place here in Moto number 2 up to the podium. I'm going to get a bronze medal here as we bring our championship bike onto the box. Where's third place? Is that Andrew Matuzik? Did he hang on to that third? Nobody. Hey, there he goes. I was going to say, here he goes. I'm over here. Andrew Matuzik, ladies and gentlemen, Moto Bronze here. Wow, another one of those rides where you're at the mercy of so many people and yourself, man. I mean, this was a crazy week, another one of those. But, Andrew, I got to say, you got to be happy. You really seem to put things together this week.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we had a couple problems, but just kept the head down, kept ticking away. Spun off the line that time. I thought I was last, but Mike Sowers confirmed I was next to last going into the first turn. So put my head down, tried to do some work, and I pumped up a little bit. It was deep in between the lines where I was trying to use. And every time I would let off the gas and throttle too much, I started getting head shake and a little out of control. But it was a good week for sure.
No doubt. Congratulations to you for a stellar week, and I'm sure there's some folks you want to say thanks to.
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, big man above, keeping me safe. My mom, my dad, my fiance, Kyle, Joel, FMF, everybody over in that corner. Fox, Aaron, Todd, Mike Sowers at Comedic, Weisco, Al Pizzino, Henson clutches. I tried a bunch of different stuff, and we went through about 5 clutches in 2 hours, and that was the only thing that worked, so I have to thank them a lot. Roost Graphics, Chris at Roost, always keeping me looking good. Twin Air, Carb Sport, Brent, giving me the info on the body, what I need to do to go a little bit faster. I felt awesome that time, so we're trying to stay on a roll for next year and win all of them.
Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Matusik as he takes home the Moto Bronze here in Moto number 3. And as we roll to our next finisher, he took second here today. A 3.32 yields him the 2018 AMA Amateur National Vet 30-Plus National Championship. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenny Day. Kenny, that's one thing. Ricky, come on up here. This is another part of the accolades for you. You get that #1 plate from the National American Motorcyclists Association. And that right there, my friends, is going to look good on the mantle right beside right beside that big shield. And, Kenny, I know you coming into this one, all you want to do is win. All you want to do is win. And you can't win the motos. You got yourself a silver, speaking of which I need to grab right here. I knew there was some more hardware I need to get for you. But you couldn't get the win in a moto. But the consistency, man, that's where it all pays off for you.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Out there, I finally got a good start. It's been all week since I finally got a good start. My Traders Racing, Yamaha is just amazing. Dunlop's hooked me up. And, man, I finally got out there and then realized that, the guy in front of me, Painter, he was riding really well. And I started to wick it up to see if I could really make some time. And I was making a little bit, but I was starting to make mistakes. And thankfully, I knew that he was behind me in the other moto, so I just kind of cruised it out. And thankfully, my mechanic, Tony Archer, just put, #1 on the last lap. So at that point, it was just goosebumps for the rest of the lap.
I imagine, and I was going to ask you how it felt. I think that explains it. There's no words that can describe that for you, but I know the celebrations are only just beginning, my friend. Who do you want to say thanks to?
First off, Lord Jesus Christ, keep me safe. Got to thank the medical rig. Those guys up there, honestly, have been working on me the past couple of days, and without them then cracking me and all that stuff, I wouldn't have been up here. So after that, the whole Traders crew, my team owner Gary Luckett for letting me do this. He's been behind me for the past 5 years. More of a manager role, but being able to let me live out my dreams. So when the opportunity came up and he was cool with it, hey, we're going for it. So thanks to him, my whole entire team, every single sponsor that supports us as a team. This is huge for us, whether it's amateur or pro. I just can't thank you enough, and we're appreciative to be able to put everybody on the box. My entire family, my mom, my brothers, my girlfriend Rachel. Man, I could go down the list. All the people that have been behind me from day one. Danny Carter, Nick Forbes, Mandel, Calvin, you name it. There's so many people that have been here for me, and this just feels really good to do it for them.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Vet 30-Plus National Champion, Kenny Day.